In the stillness before dawn, wisdom appears distant, almost like a mountain shrouded in gentle mists. Unreachable, reserved for those who seem to always possess the right answers or perfect words in life's testing moments. Yet, this sacred wisdom patiently waits for every sincere heart seeking understanding, courage, and truth. But as we journey through the valleys and walk within the deep shadows that life places before us, we learn that answers often dissolve quietly, teaching us humility, and some problems are truly invitations to soul growth. Not puzzles we must urgently solve, but sacred opportunities calling for trust and patient faith. As my spirit was tested in the unseen nights when clarity never came or answers echoed in silence, I began to truly understand this profound lesson. Wisdom is not a flash of lightning that brightens the entire sky at once, but emerges as gentle dawn, slow and transformative, guiding the heart faithfully onward. No, it is a slow sunrise unfolding with gentle grace. God patiently reveals His wisdom through the grit of misunderstandings and the ache of disappointment. Even when loneliness pressed in and I felt abandoned, He was lovingly and quietly instructing my vision, teaching me to see His presence woven through all things. If you have faithfully sat in pews or searched the sacred scriptures, but wisdom still seems to slip quietly through your grasp, remember this sacred truth. God pours out wisdom not in a crushing flood, but in the gentle daily rain that nourishes your heart and helps it grow steadily toward His light. It is within confounding silence that discernment grows like a hidden seed. Through patient waiting, the soul matures, gradually learning to attend to God's subtle whisper, not demanding a thunderous shout, but seeking His gentle leading. In these sacred pauses, hearts are shaped for deeper trust, wisdom, and the peace that surpasses understanding. Wisdom tiptoes quietly into the inner places of our hearts, soft and gentle, transforming how we view pain, how we cherish and honor those who came before us, and above all, how we surrender anxieties to divine timing, finding comfort and peace as we wait patiently for the right season to unfold. Today, let us journey through the sacred layers by which God gently sculpts our spiritual eyesight. One moment, one challenge, and one open soul at a time. In every difficulty, we are invited to see through heavenly perspective, transformed as He shapes the way we witness miracles, beauty, and meaning in daily life. Standing at the sacred threshold, we enter the first realm, human wisdom. Here, insight is shaped by reason, memory, and logic. This foundation guides hearts and minds, inviting us to ponder, seek, and learn. Every journey begins with questions, reflection, and the courage to use the gifts of the mind granted by our Creator. Human wisdom is the sturdy bridge that many souls are inclined to start upon. It gives meaning to numbers on paper, finds comfort in well-worn plans, and leans on lessons taught by seasoned voices. Yet even sturdy things may tremble when spiritual challenges demand a trust deeper than calculation or logic alone. There is no shame in beginning here, at the place where logic serves as a divine gift that gives order and clarity. Logic is a guiding light, helping us navigate each day's trials with purpose and discernment, for it was lovingly instilled within us by the Creator's own wisdom. Yet the wisdom of the mind has sacred limits, for reasoning tallies the cost of decisions but can remain blind to the everlasting worth of a soul who sits face to face across our table. It challenges us to look beyond calculation and see every soul's priceless meaning with spiritual eyes open wide. Human logic often values what is quick, efficient, and wins outward admiration, while missing the quiet depths beneath the surface. Sacred perception calls us to see what lasts forever, to trust what endures unseen. The most meaningful treasures flourish beyond the reach of fleeting praise or temporary accomplishment. Recall the ancient king, whose heart stood divided, listening to gentle wisdom as well as the prideful urge to display authority. Rejecting kindness, choosing prideful counsel, his realm shattered and fell into ruin, like a beautifully crafted vessel dashed upon the stones by a careless hand, a lesson echoing through generations about the fatal cost of pride. Logic, even when pursued with diligence, can lead us to guard our reputation while neglecting the deeper work of soul and character. In seeking to win an argument or moment, we may neglect the lasting healing of wounds, missing the sacred opportunity to reflect compassion, humility, and divine wisdom in our responses. This way of thinking, so widely praised by the world, measures success by applause, by speed, and outward achievement. It believes the divine must surely value the same criteria, yet God's wisdom invites us to see with new eyes, a vision where eternal substance outshines every fleeting recognition or temporary gain. Yet the cross itself overturns all human calculation and expectation, because on this holy ground, earth's victories can be heaven's seeming losses. But heaven's truest triumphs often appear as total surrender from below. In Christ's sacrifice, what looks like an ending on earth is truly the dawn of eternal hope and new beginnings. At this level, prayer easily becomes merely an echo chamber, resonating with our own desires rather than God's heart. We may seek only affirmation for our plans. Scripture itself risks becoming a tool for control, for fear, or a means for self-justification, instead of a source of holy transformation. Human wisdom recoils when faced with the mysterious. It rushes to transform the unknown into burdens, wrestling with questions instead of humbly receiving mystery as a gift. Let us learn to hold life's unanswered questions with soft hands, in awe, seeing mystery not as a trial but as a sacred invitation. When reason alone sits upon the throne of our hearts, arguments swiftly replace understanding, competition overtakes communion, and those who struggle or falter are dismissed as burdens rather than cherished souls. God's wisdom calls us to balance intellect and empathy, making room for grace and compassion in all our interactions, uplifting every soul. But the Christ we follow moved gently through the world, inviting souls instead of rushing them, extending hands of healing before offering correction, and winning hearts rather than simply winning points. In every act, he showed us grace's pace, love first, always, drawing people by compassion and mercy, not by argument or pressure. Here is the sacred invitation to pause and truly look inward. Growth in this holy stage is discovered gently through honesty, humility, and the slowness that allows our hearts to confess their limits and lean into the need for divine vision, so that every step forward is illuminated by sacred wisdom and humility. Admit that intellect alone sometimes leads you into the frustrating dead ends of your own making. True wisdom is a sacred invitation. Enter only with humility. When you let truth, not pride, open that inner door, you will discover deeper chambers of understanding and heartfelt transformation that only God's light can reveal. Cultivating daily humility is a sacred practice. Whisper, God, my view is small. Lift my eyes to the unseen. This prayer is not surrender or weakness, but willingly aligning with the wisdom and perspective of heaven. Through humble confession, our hearts are shaped and lifted, becoming truly open to the unfolding guidance of God. And be unhurried. In your second look, in your second question, let wisdom truly deepen, growing richer with every thoughtful moment spent. Seek to understand not merely what solves this predicament, but what truly shapes and refines a soul for eternity. For this is the deeper purpose of our sacred searching. At life's deepest foundation, logic has its sacred place. It's a faithful tool to shape understanding, but never the master. Logic can build the porch of wisdom upon which we stand, but heart, spirit, and inspiration design and fill the house where the soul makes its true eternal home. Hold human wisdom open-handed, refusing to worship it, remaining a humble steward of knowledge. Remember, all human solutions are temporary. Truth unfolds through time. When yesterday's answers no longer serve, let your heart release them, courageously seeking divine understanding and guidance that brings life and light beyond what was once considered sufficient or wise. When you notice an unsettling restlessness, even in your most carefully crafted plans, remember this is not God withholding his blessings, but instead a sacred invitation. He is gently calling you to come deeper, to step further inside the shelter of his house, to find greater trust, rest, and belonging. Level 1 is not a failure, but the sacred beginning, the necessary first step that every worthy journey in life requires. It is the doorstep where the seeds of higher wisdom are planted, where humility gives birth to understanding. Each step forward is a blessing, every lesson a gift of rising light. As your cleverness arrives at its very limit, lift your gaze toward heaven. God invites you to grow, not by striving harder or thinking faster, but by seeing beyond the surface. There we gain wisdom through humility, learning to perceive what God reveals, lessons only visible with an open and surrendered heart. The path then opens into sacred wisdom, where human logic humbly bows before divine revelation, and faith courageously bridges the mysterious gaps. In the light of revelation, believers find inner peace and clarity, discovering answers beyond understanding. Trust in the journey, for the spiritual path is a gentle invitation to deeper knowledge and inspired living. Every follower of Christ will inevitably face this crossroads on their spiritual journey. You have acted in integrity, obeyed every rule outwardly, yet your heart still finds no lasting rest. In this quiet place, human certainties yield, and the gentle whisper of the Spirit calls you to deeper trust, surrender, and peace. God does not set aside your reason. He stretches it past every boundary your mind knows, drawing you gently toward the horizon of revelation, where only divine understanding can hold what He is ready to unveil. Trust that God's wisdom transcends logic, guiding you faithfully into truths your heart could never imagine. Here, the patterns break not to bring chaos, but so that your once clouded eyes begin to discern the everlasting design woven throughout everything. Old lines give way and ancient shapes dissolve, revealing the great story unfolding beneath. In this divine clarity, every interruption becomes a gentle invitation to see with the eyes of faith and wonder. Daniel's story instructs us through sacred example. As a captive in distant Babylon, surrounded by worldly experts and faced with demands no ordinary person could meet, Daniel chose prayer and trust over argument. When we encounter impossibilities, his humility and faith invite us to turn to God first and seek His wisdom. His wisdom blossomed while waiting in reverent silence before God, not in the anxious hurry of scholarly striving. Whenever revelation unfolded, Daniel humbly gave all glory to God, the supreme revealer of mysteries, reminding us to seek divine insight and to honor the giver more than the gift itself. This awakening grows quietly in the veiled silence. For when God lovingly withholds details, He patiently teaches you to discern the gentle subtleties, quiet nudges beneath the relentless roar of doubt and your own swirling thoughts, inviting your heart to listen closely and respond in faith to His mysterious and wise whispers. Revelation is rarely immediate or blinding. Instead, its holy truth gradually unfolds, like dawn touching distant mountains, requiring humility and faithful patience. In life, we wait and listen, trusting not in our fleeting certainty, but in the gentle unveiling by God's hand, which guides us toward deeper understanding if we humbly open our hearts. The Spirit's voice rarely shouts. Instead, it moves within us softly, bringing a deep-rooted peace, a gentle conviction, and instilling divine order where confusion and chaos once reigned in our weary hearts. His sacred whisper guides us, calming storms, restoring clarity, and reminding us of God's constant, steady presence in every moment. You discover that sacred obedience must come before true understanding ever blossoms. When you step forward, trusting the divine invitation, humble action unlocks God's insight. Faith isn't about knowing everything beforehand. Rather, stepping forward unveils wisdom. As you move with trust, you deepen your relationship, and the mysteries of truth gently unfold before you. Spiritual wisdom gently transforms our experience of pain. Instead of asking why hardship strikes, one turns to ask what divine purpose is being revealed through each challenge. Every difficult storm is now seen as an unveiling, an invitation to deep growth, and an opportunity for our spirit to grow stronger and discover new dimensions of grace. Suffering serves as a lens for sacred transformation. The betrayal Joseph faced, the devastating loss endured by Job, and Paul's long imprisonment all become turning points, moments where the faithful can glimpse God's mysterious sovereignty unfolding, showing us that in hardship, our souls are gently shaped into instruments of deeper hope and trust. As prayer deepens and matures within us, it transforms from urgent pleas for solutions or quick answers into a heartfelt desire for alignment with the very heartbeat of heaven. The soul no longer demands but listens, yielding its will, seeking harmony with God's perfect purpose, finding peace in His eternal presence and ways. Revelation is not just about glimpsing the future, but awakening to God's fingerprints all around us. We learn to perceive His presence in a whispered silence, to obey his gentle nudges, to surrender to holy conviction, and to treasure spiritual insight that transforms our hearts for today as well as eternity. Yet discernment must be vigilantly and prayerfully guarded, for not every spiritual impulse truly comes from God. The enemy delights to disguise himself in the appearance of holy insight, enticing us with tempting shortcuts that appeal to the hidden pride or impatience within restless, unguarded hearts. True wisdom asks for heavenly confirmation. The fruit of true wisdom reveals itself in our lives over time. Do gentleness and humility flourish as our roots? And does patience shape our actions? Is love's gentle light shining out, forgiveness springing forth, or does fear, self-glory, and pride take hold instead? Each harvest reveals the heart's true soil. God's revelation gently brings peace, even as it convicts. He never unveils wounds to leave us exposed or broken, but always to draw us near, heal our hidden pains, and remind us we are cherished. Divine exposure is never for shame, but for mending hearts and restoring us to fullness and radiant joy. You will recognize you are truly maturing in spirit and character when patience and deep peace become your natural default, even as you walk through the valleys of uncertainty. Trusting God, you rest calmly instead of worrying, allowing your heart to reflect His steady love in every unknown and every unexpected turn of life. Spiritual wisdom grows when our reasoning humbly surrenders, making space for the gentle, holy whispers of God. In moments where reality and divine promise seem to collide, God calls us to seek His voice anew, to discover meaning and find hope in His presence as our hearts are open to transformation. True wisdom flourishes most beautifully not during our moments of perfect understanding, but when we courageously surrender our need for control and allow confusion to soak the thirsty soil of our hearts. There, in humble vulnerability, new growth is born, and the divine invites us to trust, discover, and become more fully whole. Divine silence is never merely absence. It is the sacred classroom where hearts wrestle, sight grows clearer through darkness, and the soul patiently prepares for extraordinary vision. What appears as emptiness is really the loving hush before revelation, where God's presence matures us and we are transformed for purposes brighter than we can yet imagine. In this sacred realm of spiritual growth, God guides hearts through the holy discipline of unanswered questions, mysterious pauses, and stretches of patient waiting. In the spaces of silence, our faith takes root, perseverance blossoms, and character deepens, leading us closer to a wisdom that cannot be hurried nor forced to fruition. Over the span of your life, what once seemed like random or even harsh moments are eventually revealed as intricately designed threads. Each thread, carefully woven into the greater tapestry by a loving hand, is guiding you gently and faithfully along a path toward spiritual sight, deeper understanding, and meaningful growth. Spiritual wisdom forms the second story of the house of life. It rises above the foundation of human understanding. Here, our reasoning bows quietly, surrendering to the gentle hands of God's Spirit, who takes the pen and writes truth upon our hearts, guiding us to deeper insight and everlasting purpose. Here you move beyond needing explanations for life's sacred mysteries. Instead, your heart learns to dwell in God's abiding communion. The world around you now glimmers with the living presence of God, seen not just as it appears on the surface, but revealed as it truly is in His light. There is, above all else, a loftier realm revealed to the soul, divine wisdom. This is not merely perceiving through the gentle illumination of the Spirit, but beholding reality through the very sacred heart and eternal mind of God, where guidance, understanding, and holy discernment flow forth like a living stream. True wisdom is born not from mere study or intellect, but from deep spiritual transformation and the sacred union with Christ's heart of compassion. It reshapes our vision, invites us to serve others with humility, and fills us with an abiding love that mirrors the mercy and gentleness of Christ Himself. There comes a moment on the sacred journey of faith when you stop asking merely what is correct, and instead begin to wonder what most beautifully reveals the heart of Jesus. It is there, in this holy questioning, that a deeper life begins, one shaped not by rules but transformed by divine love. Remember the moment when a desperate woman, condemned by an angry crowd, stood before Jesus. He faces her accusers, not with harshness, but with divine wisdom that marries truth and mercy perfectly. In just one gentle sentence, Jesus models how our judgments can be tempered by compassion, redemption, and grace. By perceiving the deep need beneath every mistake, divine wisdom gently chooses redemption over reactivity, and lovingly transforms even our deepest wounds into sacred opportunities for healing and restoration. Through compassion and holy insight, what once seemed lost becomes a wellspring of hope, reminding us that healing is always within reach. With God's compassionate heart working within you, those who once wounded your spirit are no longer seen as enemies, but as precious souls desperately longing for mercy and healing, the same mercy you yourself hungered for and received. In divine perspective, forgiveness means extending what heaven graciously poured into you, redeeming love and undeserved kindness. Personal losses and delays, while often very painful and confusing at first, are transformed in a sacred perspective into divine pruning, an intentional shaping of your soul. What may feel like a setback is really God preparing you for far greater fruitfulness, so you may blossom in empathy, spiritual depth, and lasting purpose. Obedience quietly outshines great achievement, for it is in our patient daily choices, often unseen by human eyes, that our character takes shape and God finds delight. The applause of the crowd eventually fades, but the humble heart choosing faithfulness in the ordinary builds a legacy heaven remembers and cherishes forever. The proud spirit bends wisdom into a weapon for personal conquest and control, but the surrendered soul channels wisdom into a gentle river of reconciliation, reflecting Jesus who won ultimate victory not through force or pride, but through the sacred humility and selfless love poured out upon the cross for all humanity. Christ's wisdom drew him toward the cross, where suffering looked like utter defeat. Yet in that holy endurance, heaven's purposes unfolded, revealing a victory unseen by mortal sight. His sacrifice became the ultimate reversal, a sacred triumph that only divine understanding could recognize, teaching us faith when circumstances seem contrary to God's eternal plan. Wisdom gently transforms your speech. You speak not with the goal of impressing others, but to bring comfort and authentic healing. Sometimes holy silence, wisely chosen, carries more power and meaning than 1,000 spoken words. Through sacred restraint, your words and your pauses reveal healing truth, compassion, and deeper understanding. Truth and love, two sacred companions, journey hand in hand. Truth is firm, never wavering in its correction. Love's touch is gentle, eager to restore the broken heart. Together, they guide us to pause, listen, speak with wisdom and compassion, transforming lives with every word and tender gesture toward healing and peace. Peace becomes your divine portion, untouched by outer turbulence and undisturbed by the opinions or judgments of others. You graciously surrender any desperate urge to prove yourself, to convince or dominate, knowing your worth rests in something higher. This peace leads you quietly toward gentleness, compassion, and spiritual strength for whatever tomorrow brings. Divine wisdom cannot be seized by force or intellect alone. It comes by inheritance to souls who yield, with humility and trust, to the gentle, mysterious unfolding of God's will. Those who patiently journey the slow path of surrender truly discover wisdom's gold, a treasure far surpassing anything that can be attained by striving. Solomon, though crowned with unimaginable splendor and wisdom, discovered that the richest truth was born in humility before God. As he reflected, fleeting worldly pursuits lost their allure. What endured was a heart steadfast in reverence and obedience to the Lord. This lesson invites us to seek humility, not hollow glory, in our own lives. True wisdom, divine wisdom, emerges not from victory or power, but from deep reliance and humble trust. We are never more wise than when we honestly recognize our utter dependence on God, acknowledging our need each day and opening our hearts to His guidance, grace, and loving presence in every moment. Now, reflect upon the wondrous ways God shapes our spiritual sight within the quiet corners of life. Every silence, every closed door, each mysterious misunderstanding becomes a sacred classroom, where our souls are taught patience, humility, and trust, even when we struggle to see beyond today's moment or know His greater plan. Misunderstanding is a sacred invitation to see beyond surface words and gestures, to glimpse the pain quietly masked by anger, the deep insecurity concealed behind criticism, and in that moment, choose compassion instead of reaction. intercession in place of judgment. By embracing this, we transform our hearts and reflect divine love in our daily lives. Even loss is a profound teacher. Stripped of our everyday comforts, we gain heart vision and see that God's presence alone is abundantly sufficient. When everything else is gone, empty hands become open, expectant vessels, ready to receive heaven's special revelations and wisdom that only life's deepest valleys and quietest moments can reveal. Silence gently polishes the ears of our souls. When life offers few answers and questions linger, God calls us deeper to trust not just what He does, but who He is. In the quiet, our faith is sharpened as we learn to rest securely in His enduring presence above all results. Through waiting, character is forged and refined by God. Patience is a holy invitation, a stretching of the heart and soul to grow deep and strong. In patient surrender, we are shaped to receive greater blessings without being crushed beneath their fullness, prepared to bear joy and responsibility with sacred strength. Contradiction becomes our sacred teacher, molding and refining the heart with every test. Choosing love when faced with rejection, serving even when unnoticed, forgiving while wounds are still fresh. Each action trains our vision, gradually teaching us to see and respond to life's challenges with the profound compassion that God sees and desires. God graciously repeats His timeless lessons, not to break or crush us, but so that His truth and wisdom gently soak deep into our hearts. As we journey through life, these sacred lessons become our instinctive response, shaping our thoughts and choices until His wisdom guides our every action and decision. Thus, hardship and heartbreak are sacred rehearsals in life. With each trial and each sorrow, our souls are gently refined. Their pain awakens spiritual senses, preparing us for grander sight, deeper compassion, and gentler responses. Through life's tests, our hearts are shaped to see with heaven's wisdom and love. When moments of confusion cloud your heart, recall that God is not testing you to cast you away, but lovingly shaping your spirit. His hand forms meaning within the apparent chaos, inviting you to discern sacred patterns and divine messages that others may overlook. Trust the sculptor who shapes your purpose. As vision shifts and we gently release our grasp on control, our hearts become softer and more open. Grace takes root where striving once lived, nurturing hope and stillness. In the gentle exchange, anxious striving fades, replaced by peaceful trust that transforms how we walk through every season and circumstance of life. The final ascent toward true wisdom is revealed not by applause or recognition from others, but by a holy presence that radiates peace. It is humility quietly shining in the soul that marks genuine maturity. In these silent moments, the Spirit whispers that greatness in God's eyes is found in surrender and stillness. Here, argument is replaced by a foundation of abiding trust in the Divine's loving guidance. Humility allows us to see clearer and farther than our own cleverness or reasoning ever could, because in that sacred surrender of self, wisdom, peace, and the quiet assurance of God's presence become our guiding light each day. Those who dwell at this level are anchored deep within the bedrock of unshakable trust. When storms rage and the winds howl, their souls remain serene and unmoved. Their faith does not panic or scatter with the passing tempests. It is calm, enduring, and steadfast, radiating a deep, holy peace throughout life's darkest nights. God's orchestration becomes visible even in delays, detours, and disappointments, inviting us to trust when the path is dark or uncertain. The wise remain close to his heart, drawing strength from his eternal love, even when his hand seems mysterious or his ways unfold slowly before our waiting eyes. Divine wisdom gently unites the sacred with the ordinary in our lives. Every sunrise breaking through darkness, each kind word spoken, and every small act of forgiveness offered are in truth beautiful echoes of God's holy presence, inviting us to recognize his nearness in each small moment we experience today. Obedience flourishes here like a living stream, unforced, unburdened by transaction or fear, springing forth from a soul attuned to Christ. Our response is not duty alone, but love echoing his heart, a sacred rhythm shaped by grace's invitation, shaping who we are and who we are called to become. Gratitude wells up within the soul. Even in hardship and those times when prayers seem to go unanswered, each moment still belongs in God's unfolding masterpiece. Thanksgiving becomes a sacred lens, allowing the spirit to remain light and the heart soft, open, and humble, always ready to witness God's grace in unexpected ways. Wisdom, in its truest form, is no longer measured by our rise above others, but by our devotion to compassion. To walk in Christ-like love requires us to bless rather than to conquer, to embody gentleness. This is the sacred test and shining proof of learning to see others as God sees them. And so, wisdom is not won as a trophy, but shines forth as the gentle light guiding your journey, transforming ordinary days with heaven's understanding and peace. Its presence softly proclaims to all who see, "This is the wonder of truly seeing through the eyes of God, filled with purpose and divine love."